I never knew until really I was thinking about becoming a mom just how unbelievably corrupt the baby industry actually is. Turns out, chances are, your baby's diaper brand is probably directly funding the abortion industry. If you're putting Coterie, Huggy, Pampers, Loves, diapers on your baby every day, not only are you probably exposing them to a whole host of toxins and poisonous chemicals that are impacting their health, but you are also funding the death of millions of babies every single day in the United States of America. It doesn't make any sense, but that's the reality of the world that we live in. In response, one of my amazing friends is doing something about it by creating the world's first and only pro-life diaper company that's now also supporting women, EveryLife. And I'm so excited for you guys to get to know her, their story, and what you can do to go on offense to change culture in America today on The Isabel Brown Show. As I am hitting the streets today in Washington, D.C. for one of my favorite days of the entire year, the March for Life, joining so many incredible pro-lifers from all over the world who have come here today to celebrate the sanctity and dignity of human life right when it begins, the most vulnerable among us and our beautiful babies. I sat down yesterday with one of my most amazing pro-life friends ever in existence to get the story behind our friends at EveryLife. You guys know I've done a lot of work with EveryLife over the past couple of years as the world's first and only truly pro-life diaper company. And this company has now exploded. It's become the fastest growing diaper company in American history. It is totally clean and non-toxic and safe to use, which for me as a mom this last year has been hugely important and really game-changing, actually, when you compare it to all of the other brands out there that are constantly harming our babies. They have now expanded over the years into so many other exciting ventures, including women's care products like tampons and pads and period underwear. They're doing an amazing Pray for More Babies campaign that's helped 8,000 plus families gather together to pray for conception of new children. And you may recognize their very controversial messaging from the last few years of their Make More Babies campaign, which I am here for. Whether you are a pro-lifer yourself and you love EveryLife as one of your favorite companies, or you've literally never heard of this organization before and you're thinking, what the heck could possibly be so crazy about the baby industry that this company needed to exist in the first place, today's episode is for you. If you are in Washington, D.C., I hope I get to see you today at the March for Life. But if not, plan on joining us next year here in D.C. and you can live vicariously through our day that we're having today through our episode on Monday that will be a vlog of what the march is really like, boots on the ground. In the meantime, snuggle up for Snowmageddon that's coming this weekend and join us today on the Isabel Brown Show for an amazing conversation with my beautiful friend, founder of EveryLife, Sarah Gable Seifert. Sarah Gable Seifert, one of my favorite people in the world. Thank you so much for joining us today on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We are here in Washington, D.C., which is the last place I saw you about a year ago exactly at the March for Life last year, and I had a big old baby belly.
And you looked cuter than ever.
Thank you so much. I was freezing and exhausted walking all the way to the Supreme Court, but it was so incredible to be able to share that with my daughter, and I'm so excited, as this is airing today, to be bringing my daughter to the march this year. It's just so crazy how much life changes in a couple of months, and I know that's been the case for your family as well. Tell us some updates on that front.
Yeah, so we have a 3-year-old little girl, and we just welcomed our newest Adeline Bell. We call her Addie Bell. She's about to be 5 months old, and they're both here with me too. So they will be here at the march, and it's just fun to be able to come back again. I brought Lily Gable, my first, and now bringing the newest and letting her into the movement because they're a part of it too. They're the reason that we're fighting. They're the reason we are walking and marching tomorrow. So what a gift that we get to bring our precious gifts with us and remember our why.
You guys have the most beautiful family, truly. And now experiencing motherhood on this side of delivering my baby this last year, it's just so incredible to know that's the reason I get out of bed every day. That's why I'm fighting so hard. And that's been your North Star and your driving compass behind founding one of my favorite companies ever in existence, EveryLife. Can you tell us a little bit more about what inspired you to start EveryLife as a business and what you were discovering about the industry along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was pregnant with our first, and I was very excited about getting all of of the new products for her and getting the registry prepared as you got to do the same thing. And that's an exciting season. And to be honest, Isabel, I didn't think that I would need to look into the diaper industry. And you would think that every diaper brand would stand for the customer, the products that they are creating for the babies. Well, I started to notice that every single major diaper company on the market today is supporting abortion either vocally or financially. And it shook me to my core. I was sitting there just shocked to see some of the biggest brands. You think of Coterie, who claims to be one of the most luxurious brands on the market, literally lamenting over the fact that Roe v. Wade was overturned and feeling lost without abortion care. Statements they're making on their social media channels.
Lost without abortion.
Exactly. And then you're looking at Huggies, who's matching employee contributions to Planned Parenthood. You have Huggies, who's expanding medical coverage to include abortion care for their employees. You have Hello Bello, who's vowing to help their employees get their abortions, pay for their travel. It's really shocking when you start to dive in, and you don't really have to look that hard. It's all over their websites, it's all over their social media, and the list goes on and on of these big diaper brands. And I was sitting there talking to my husband saying, I can't support these brands. I cannot feel confident putting my money towards a Huggies, a Pampers, a Hello Bello, an Honest Company, a Coterie, and know that my dollars are supporting the very thing that we are working so hard to fight against, which is abortion, the devaluing of God's most precious children. And so we felt an obligation, Isabel, to just be the solution and to jump into the arena and to create the first and only pro-life diaper company on the market today. The first and only.
Every time you say that, and I work with EveryLife quite regularly. You guys probably see my posts for EveryLife quite often. And every time you say that out loud, even knowing what I know and constantly thinking about it, I put an EveryLife diaper on my baby 10 times a day.
Yep.
When you hear that out loud, the only pro-life diaper company in existence on the planet, it shocks me every time because let's pretend even if you don't care about the issue of abortion, which you should, of course, and certainly companies supporting moms and babies should care about the issue of abortion. Logistically and business speaking, it makes no sense to financially contribute to killing your own customer base. That doesn't add up to me.
Nope. It's a horrible business model. So it's a bad business model and it's morally wrong. It's evil. And we know that there's hundreds of thousands, millions that are out there that care deeply about life, that are pro-life, pro-family, and want to put their dollars to support the things that matter to their family. And I'm just so thankful that in 2.5 years, we're still very young, but we're the fastest growing diaper company on the market today. And I say that with so much anticipation and so much excitement because it shows that there are people out there that deeply care about not just getting a great product, because we do. We have premium products. They're clean. They're safe for sensitive skin, no parabens, no phthalates, like all the things that you care about as a mom, making sure that that diaper is the safest for your child. We've checked that off for the parent. But we also are unapologetically for their child, for their family. We want to see more children in this world, not less. We say make more babies all over the place because life is so precious and it's so fleeting as well. And so we want to make the most of every single day. And I'm so thankful that as a brand, we get to send that message out to the world. And we're not just providing this great product. We are shifting culture. We are helping moms and dads choose life for their babies. We've donated over 8 million diapers to pregnancy resource centers who are in urgent need of these supplies. And I've worked at a pregnancy center. I directed one in California, and I know how desperately these moms and dads need diapers and wipes. 60% of moms and dads would actually say if they just had the emotional support and the tangible, practical financial needs met, they would have chosen life for their baby. Wow. That's a lot of individuals that could have their baby today if they just had emotional and practical support. So by us donating these diapers, we're helping moms and dads choose life for their baby and setting them up for success. And that's what it's all about. We're not just changing diapers. We're changing lives through the work that we're doing. And I'm so thankful that you're helping us do that every single day.
It's been a dream come true, obviously. It's a cause I certainly believe in more passionately than ever before as a mom. And I want to get into the product itself in a little bit because it's also shocking just the sheer level of toxic crap that is in most of the stuff out there for moms and babies alike. But on that changing culture front, you guys have had some interesting feedback to this idea of make more babies over the last few years. Not everybody likes it, but that certainly has become a really popular phrase in the conservative movement here in Washington, D.C. now. Elon Musk has been very supportive of that statement. Our vice president just announced that they are expecting their fourth baby, and he'll be speaking at the March for Life today. What has some of that response been that's made its way back to you guys, and why that phrase?
So it was Elon Musk. It was his tweet that said, having children is saving the world. And I loved that tweet. I remember seeing it and thinking, wow, Elon Musk is talking about this overpopulation control ideology and the lack of children coming into our world. The fact that our birth rate today is at 1.62 babies per woman is very concerning, because we need 2.1 babies in this world in order to have a lasting, sustaining future for our nation. And so we're looking at, what's happening in politics, what's happening in culture, and we're seeing that we have an opportunity to talk about something that a lot of the pro-life movement really wasn't focused on at this time. This was about 2 years ago when we launched our Make More Babies campaign. And so we wanted to come in with a fresh perspective. So we blew up Elon Musk's tweet on a huge sign in the middle of New York on a billboard and put a simple but powerful message underneath that just said, make more babies. And it went viral. It went everywhere. We got into the mainstream to really talk about the gift of life, that God from the very beginning of time, if you go back to Genesis, he said in his word, Genesis 1:27, he made male and female. God created them in his image, male and female. And then he called us to be fruitful and to multiply the earth. And I understand that more than ever, being now a mom, that is one of the greatest gifts, that he creates a man, he creates a woman, he calls them to come together in the union of marriage. And then for that love, that passionate love, to then turn into little humans. It is the coolest, most underrated thing in society today. And we want to talk about that. We want to talk about the joy that life brings into the world, the pure enthusiasm that comes from a child, and the laughter that comes from life, and what it means to be a mom, what it means to be a dad. You're not the same when you become a mom and dad, in the best way. It is the most humbling. It is very challenging, but you become a better version of yourself.
You do.
I'm stronger. I'm wiser. I'm more motivated. I have more business ideas because of my children, because we want a better future for them. And so that's why we wanted to do this Make More Babies campaign, because we wanted to talk about the gift of life and the beauty of parenthood. And it's been amazing to see the response.
I'll never forget, about a year ago, I was having a really interesting conversation with one of your team members, Chrissy, who's amazing. Shout out to her. She works so very hard, about how that phrase was resonating really specifically with young men. And that was really surprising to you guys. Last year at the March for Life, there were like thousands of college boys, not even girls, but boys running around with Make More Babies.
Fighting for the beanies that said Make More Babies.
And they desperately wanted the hats. And I think that's really interesting now, in retrospect, looking over this last year. Political polling has come out saying that young men are very, very passionate about reviving the family. It is their first or second political priority right now for young men under 35 to get married and have children.
I love that.
For young women, it is so far down the totem pole. It's one of the last things on young women's mind under 35. How are you guys planning to work on that in the changing culture piece? And what can we say as a message to young women to help them fall in love with this Make More Babies
I
concept?
love what you're saying. And I actually go back to the 1950s, because in the 1950s, you were seeing that the birth rate was at 3.5 babies per woman. And the average age of the first child was at 22, 23 years old. Now flash forward to where we are today, and most women are not having their first until 28 years old. That's the average. So you can see the massive delta between where we were in the 50s to where we are today. And I have so many conversations, Isabel, with girls that are 35 now, some in their 40s, and regretting so deeply that they did not prioritize family first, that they bought the lie that career and your own ambitions and your own goals are paramount to everything else. And now they're in their 40s and wishing so desperately that they would have rearranged their priorities, that they would have sought after God and finding a spouse and starting a family, because that's all their heart is longing for. And so what we're trying to do is start this conversation a lot earlier, because Isabel, I don't know about you, but when I was 12, 13, 14, 15 in my teenage years, I wish somebody would have been telling me, think about what you want in the next 5 to 10 years. Do you want to be a mom? Okay, if you want to be a mom, start thinking about a career path that will set you up best to be able to do that. And nobody was asking me those things. Now, I'm so thankful in college, God got a hold of my heart in a very drastic way and really shifted my heart and my mindset and put me on the path that he designed for me. And I said yes to it. And it led me to early marriage and early kids. And I'm so thankful for that. But it could have looked very, very differently. And so I actually like that we've launched EveryLife Women, which is a feminine care brand, right underneath EveryLife. It's a new category. And we're providing clean tampons and pads and period underwear. And it's allowing us to actually get in front of the consumer at the start of their cycle to celebrate them in that moment when they become a woman and help them understand that, like, this is such a special time. God designed your body so beautifully, so uniquely, with strength, with dignity. And we get to track with them from that point on all the way into motherhood and beyond. So as a brand, we're really working to not just provide these products for moms, but we want to start really getting into the hands of the younger consumer so we can start sending this message that we should prioritize God. We should prioritize family. And let's start thinking about that, evaluating what our life looks like. Because a life not evaluated is a life not worth living. Socrates actually said that. Yeah. And I love that phrase. A life not evaluated is a life not worth living. And I think so many people roll through the motions of life, just saying yes to culture or yes to influencers or whatever the cultural trend is. And they never stop to say, what do I want for my life? Yeah. Or more importantly, God, what do you have for my life? And how can I say yes to that? Because it's so much better than our ways. His ways are so much better than ours.
That's such a powerful culture shift in understanding your identity as a woman, what you experienced through your body, and sort of celebrating that in a new way that really wasn't presented to women of my generation. I mean, for Lord's sake, we all learned about our periods through the American Girl traumatizing book, The Care and Keeping of You. If you know, you know. That was a brutal experience.
It's true.
And it was all very swept under the rug. It was supposed to be something that you kept to yourself. It was very hidden. Private, hidden. You never talked about it with someone else. And that's not to say it was presented as bad necessarily. Like, I remember my mom congratulating me when I got my first period. But after that, we never talked about my period ever again. It was never something discussed until I was really struggling with systemic acne as a teenager. And I got put on Accutane because I had tried every other over-the-counter product on the market and worked with my dermatologist for years to try to find the right prescription product. Nothing was working, and eventually I got put on Accutane, like so many women my age. And because the government at that time was still very upset and kind of worried about the regulations around this particular pill, mandated that we were put on the birth control pill. So like an entire generation of women, all of us took the birth control pill for, I don't know, upwards of a decade. I took it for almost 10 years. And I quit in my early 20s finally. But from the time I was 15 years old through I was 24, 25, every single healthcare practitioner in my life was telling me, oh, you need to stay on this pill because it's going to fix all of your problems. It's the magic bean. And who wants a period anyway? Periods suck. They're painful. They're icky. They're messy. You never want to deal with them. It was never once presented to me as this is the way your body is supposed to be functioning. It's a sign of
good health.
It's beautiful. Right. It's something to celebrate. And this ultimately is inherently tied to the fact that you are healthy enough to have a child. And that's something really, really worthy of celebrating. Exactly. Instead, everyone said, stay on the pill until the minute you're ready to have a baby. And then you can quit and you can figure out how your body works after that when you're 35 someday, once your career is totally taken off. And I love that we are now able to talk to preteen and teen girls to say, no, this is how your body was designed. That is worthy of celebration. That's worthy of care and attention. And it's not something that you have to hide behind anymore.
No, it's not.
Back to it in a second, but first, there is new research that reveals something truly heartbreaking. More than 7 million American women are dealing with severe, long-lasting emotional pain after obtaining an abortion. Grief, flashbacks, and a deep regret that for many people really never ever goes away. Our friends at Preborn see this suffering up close in real life every single day in thousands of clinics that they support across the country. But here's the good news. There is hope, and it starts with something really powerful. When a woman sees her baby on an ultrasound, everything shifts. Suddenly, her baby's chance at life literally doubles. And for just $28, you can sponsor that ultrasound and potentially change and save a life forever. This is what genuine healthcare looks like inside of Preborn's network of clinics. They are on the front lines providing free ultrasounds, compassionate counseling, and faith-based support to young moms who are facing incredibly difficult decisions. They are saving babies, healing women's hearts, and making it possible for women everywhere to choose motherhood. If you believe, like I do, that every child matters and that no woman should ever have to face a pregnancy alone, I hope that you'll join me today as a sponsor of an ultrasound. Plus, Preborn just received their first 2025 Shining Light Award for financial integrity, so you can support them knowing that your donation is going exactly where it should. To donate and save a life today, you can pick up your phone and dial pound 250 and then say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 keyword baby, or you can go online to preborn.com/Isabel. Again, that is preborn.com/Isabel.
And that's so key, because it is sad to me that there's so many young people that won't even tell their parents that they started their period because they feel ashamed. They feel like they should hide, and it's not something that is open and celebrated in the way that it needs to be. And I'm really hopeful because of some of the things that I'm seeing, even culturally. Like, you look at the MAHA movement and you look at how many people are starting to actually think about, what am I putting into my body? What am I putting on my body? And how do I make sure that I be a good steward of my body? And actually, that's biblical too. We need to be good stewards of our body. And so I do think that I'm seeing good signs in a good direction, that people are starting to wake up to this movement, this idea, and taking more of a holistic, a more natural path, and not just saying, okay, what my doctor tells me is 100% truth, and I'm not going to do any sort of research on my own. I'm not going to be my own advocate. And I'm seeing more people getting the confidence to do their own research, to do some critical thinking, and to ask the bigger questions. Again, not just roll through the motions of life and just say yes to the way that people are pointing them, and really take ownership over their own decisions, their own body. And that's what we need more of. And I think as a parent, that's our responsibility as well, to ensure that we raise our kids to be able to think strategically, to think critically for themselves. So that way, when they are 18 years old, they're set up better to make powerful decisions that are life-giving. And we don't want to be robots just going through life and saying yes to whatever comes our way. And so I am hopeful that we're starting to see a shift.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that our products really do provide the ability for them to feel safe using them as well, because everything's very clean. And you mentioned the clean topic.
Yeah, I want to get into that, actually. We had Secretary Kennedy on our show earlier this week, and he was talking about how important it is for every American to become the CEO of their own health. Do your own research. Do not trust what the experts in Washington or the scientific experts are telling you, because chances are they're lying to you, and they probably have some sort of purchased interest in the background, and nobody likes to talk about that in the science world. I had no idea my entire life as a scientist. I have 2 degrees in biomedical sciences, to even think about reading the nutrition labels on some of the products that I'm even ingesting, but certainly what I'm putting into my body as a woman every single month. And the more research that I've done about this, especially on the feminine care side, but diapers as well, it is shocking. The studies that are now coming out about the toxic levels of arsenic, of lead, of PFAs, forever chemicals that disrupt your endocrine system, that we are willingly putting inside of our body every single month as women in most of, if not almost every single one of the leading tampon brands. How are you guys combating that through EveryLife Women? And tell us a little bit about the actual creation process of your products and how you avoid that.
Yeah, you nailed it. The fact that there are PFAs and there's all these parabens and phthalates inside of the biggest fem care brands on the market is shocking, because we've been talking a little bit about the birth rate, and there is a serious crisis with people struggling to have children. I mean, the infertility rate, 1 in 6 couples globally are struggling to have a child right now.
And usually are diagnosed, let me just say, with unexplained infertility. That's the label that they're given, which of course there's an explanation, but no 100%. One wants to give it to you.
Right. So you mentioned birth control. That's, a big reason I believe people are struggling with infertility today. I do think that the products that they're putting on their body is a really big issue, because these PFAs, these parabens, these phthalates that are inside of tampons and pads, they're endocrine disruptors. They cause infertility. They can cause adverse birth outcomes, all kinds of issues. And so we as a brand spend a lot of time asking ourselves, how do we create something that not only celebrates women as women?
Important.
That is so, you wouldn't think you'd have to say that, right?
But it's not people who menstruate.
Right. But I mean, you have Tampax that's literally stating, not all women menstruate. menstruate. I mean, they're using gender neutral terminology and really devaluing and trying to erase womanhood is essentially, they're not talking to the woman. And that's a problem. So not only do we stand for biblical values and biblical truths around what it means to be a woman and celebrate that design, but we really wanted to make sure that the woman could feel stress-free putting this product in and on their body every single month. So we have 100% organic cotton, GOTS certified on the top sheet of our pads, on the tampons, same thing, 100% GOTS organic cotton. That's so, so important. That's like the highest certificate you could have in a product. No phthalates, no parabens, no toxins that are going to cause these issues long term. And not only are they clean, but they perform. And that's important too. You have to have a product that meets the mark in cleanliness and does not have the toxins, but can also hold what it needs to hold, because you want to feel confident going out in your day knowing that your tampon is going to work, and so is your pad. And the period underwear, I must say, I just went through postpartum about 4.5 months ago, and I got to use those in the day and the night, and they were fabulous. I mean, not only were they extremely comfortable, high-waisted, I love that, but also it held really, really well. And so
you invented those like 3 months after I gave birth, and I remember getting them in the mail thinking, I would have loved this next time. Next time.
Baby number 2, 3, 4, however many you have, they will be there for you. But yeah, it's just really important to think about the woman, and we deeply care about the woman. We deeply care about our customers. I mean, that's why we launched EveryLife Women. We didn't just launch it to put another brand out, another category out into the market. We did it because our customers were asking for it. We listen to our customers, we respond to our customers, and we care so deeply about the mom. And the mom was like, hey, I need some better fem care products for, post-baby and during my postpartum period. And so we created it for our current audience. And I'm excited, like I mentioned earlier, to expand beyond our current audience. Now we get to talk to the 13-year-old. We get to speak to even the post-mom after the childbearing years. And so it's a privilege. It's a gift that we get to help the family unit. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to build products to make the family stronger.
Yeah, that's so, so, so important. And you're not just doing the necessity work in terms of keeping tampons and pads and period underwear clean. You guys are also doing that for diapers, in addition to funding the abortion industry, because of course they have to. Most of the leading diaper brands are also incredibly toxic and have very, very unsafe chemicals, toxins in all of their products that are rubbing up against our baby's skin all day, every day, which is incredibly concerning, and no one ever likes to talk about that. Shed a little bit of light on that for us.
Yeah, to be honest, when I was making this, I thought, I want to make sure that I have a product that I feel comfortable and confident putting on my own baby. And so I really had my own child in mind, because if I can't put this product on my own baby, that's not something that I'm going to want to put out to the world. So it was very personal to me to ensure that we created a diaper that she could wear day and night, that provided the 12-hour leak protection in the night so baby can sleep better, because sleep is very important.
Can confirm it does actually hold 12 hours.
It's actually really impressive. So it holds extremely well. It has the channel flow technology is what it's called, and that really allows the urine to lock in and to keep the baby's bun dry, so that way there's no diaper rash or irritation. And so that technology was really key in how we created our product. But then the no phthalates, the no parabens, the no toxins, the no lotions, the no fragrances, all of those things. You think about that fresh baby. I mean, literally, they're coming out of the womb a day old, and you're putting them in a diaper for all day long. They're never really not in a diaper if you think about it, other than a bath. So you really want to make sure that you feel confident that that baby is going to be comfortable and be safe. And so we thought about every single detail about that when creating our product. And I'm thankful that it's working and people love it, and it's being shipped to people's doors every single month. I think that's really helpful too.
Yeah, the subscription model is really interesting to me because so many of my friends have asked me about this. They say, okay, you only use these diapers that come in the box to your door. Is that stressful? Do you worry about that? I say, to the contrary, it has been game changing actually. And it works this way for the women's care products as well. You sign up for a subscription. It comes to your door every single month. You can customize or change whatever you need in your subscription at all times. And the registry component is really interesting too, that you can purchase a subscription for someone else on their baby registry. What made you think of that idea?
The grandparents, right? My family, I have incredible mom and dad. They're the best grandparents. And then my in-laws are the same. And they wanted to support in some way. and I was like, that'd actually be really cool if we could do a gifting subscription model for the grandparents or the friends or the family members who just want to show love every single month. That's the cool thing about that gift, is that if you gift someone a subscription, it's showing up at their door every single month, and they're being reminded that that's from you. And I think that's really special, and I think that's really unique. We also have the Buy for a Cause program, and this is really cool too, because if you don't have a baby in diapers, but you're really passionate about the pro-life movement, you're looking for some tangible way to support and be involved. And I think everyone's asking that question, like, what can I do to be a part of the movement? And you can donate a $50 donation once a month, and that box of diapers, it's a whole month's supply of diapers and wipes, will go directly to a pregnancy center that we're affiliated with and partnered with, so they can give it to a mom or dad that has chosen life for their baby. And so that's a great program too for a grandparent, anybody, a customer, to just get involved and help us get more products out to the people who need them most.
You guys have also partnered with specific relief efforts, I know, in the last couple of years with the Texas floods and so many of the other natural disasters we've seen over the country. I never think about the fact that there are thousands of people that need diapers and wipes and baby wash and lotion, and all of those things have been swept away with their home, or they're no longer accessible because of a wildfire or something crazy. What an amazing way to just help support people and make sure that they have the resources that they need. Switching gears a little bit, I'm curious to pick your brain on this. As a mom of 2 daughters, and I'm a girl mom as well now, I'm seeing this growing sentiment in the fringes of the pro-life movement and somewhat in the conservative movement as well about the working mom archetype here. And there's been some criticism and backlash about working moms and that our place really is primarily in the home with our family. And yet I've met so many amazing, incredible women over the past few years that have these incredibly demanding full-time careers. You're running businesses, you're hosting podcasts, you're speaking all over the country, and yet also have the most beautiful family lives at home too. How do you navigate that balance? And what message do you hope that your daughters take away from watching you serve so many women all over the world through EveryLife?
I want to hear your answer to that too, but I will start. I love the question. And I actually think the first point is important to state that the pro-abortion, I don't even say pro-choice, by the way, because they're not pro-choice. They're pro-abortion. The left, their message is choose career, choose your own ambitions, and you have to choose that or baby, because you can't do both. And I just want to start by saying that is the most degrading and demeaning message that you could send to anybody. To tell a woman that she can't have a baby and still pursue her dreams, it should be really offensive. And so what we're saying on the other side of the aisle is that you can do both, that it actually is possible. You don't have to choose one or the other. But I do have to say there's a caveat to that. I think that as a working mom and a mom, I think that it's really important that you have to invite God into that decision, because it comes with a price. It comes with sacrifice. It comes with saying no to a lot in order to say yes to some fabulous and rewarding things. But it's challenging. And you have to have the help. You have to have the support. It's not a small yes. It's a big yes. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have the peace and the assignment from God to jump into the arena and do this with the zeal, with the passion from Him, from God. And that's been what sustained me. It's given me the grace to deal with those really hard days where I'm not sleeping and I'm having to fly here and fly there, and the demands of the business. I mean, it never stops. And so while it's beautiful and wonderful and it's made me a better person, it's hard. It's not easy. And so what I would say to someone who's in that boat trying to discern, do I try to do both? Do I choose to stay at home? Do I choose my business? Well, I would say go to God first, because without His peace and without His yes, it's going to make it even more challenging. But if you have Him on your side and you're going down the path that He has set for you, you will have the grace to deal with those difficult, challenging moments. But when you don't have the grace of God on it, it's going to make it to the point where it's not sustainable. It's not bearable. So my message is you can do both. But you need to do it with God, and you need to do it with help and support. And I think it's really important that you have your husband supporting you as well. It's a yes for both partners.
It is, yeah.
And you need to understand what you're saying no to as well. It means probably not doing some of the convenient things that you love, the comfortable, cushy things of life. Like you're saying no to maybe the Saturday night, get-togethers with all the girlfriends. Because for me, it's God, it's my husband, it's my family, it's my girls, and it's the business. And you can't do it all. Like, I think society wants to tell you, you can do everything, you can do it all. You can't do it all. Something will give. Something has to be put to the side in order to keep your priorities straight. And so I think people need to understand that when they're jumping into that season of life. And it's beautiful and it's wonderful, but it comes with sacrifice for sure.
My mom had a really, really demanding career my entire childhood. She worked in a different state from the time I was in second grade all the way through sophomore year of high school. So every Sunday we would take her to the airport, and then we would pick her up every Thursday. And it was a really demanding, crazy childhood. We moved back and forth quite a bit between two different states, and certainly not the norm of typically what you would expect of the average American conservative family. And I will never forget so many times throughout my childhood people asking her about how she balanced that. And she said repeatedly, you can have it all, but not at the same time. And you have to be able to prioritize certain things at different times. And it is really hard. I love the word grace that you used there, because truly, if I was trying to rely solely on my own recognizance to run a full-time business, to do a daily show, to stay up all night with my screaming daughter, and to be there for my husband, and still find some time left over for myself, I actually think I would go insane. Like, truly, transparently, I had a total meltdown a few nights ago about how, oh my gosh, 24 hours of the day is just so demanding. I'm constantly giving of my body, of my time, of my sleep, of my brain, of every single ounce of energy that I have. And then the next morning I woke up and I rolled over and I looked at my beautiful smiling daughter who didn't sleep all night. And I'm like, okay, I love my life. It's okay. It's going to be great.
Right.
And I do think there is an element of this that has to be so much more than what your own personal desires out of a career are.
Yeah.
And in a different way than men, because I do think men are primarily driven in a different way than we are, we have to assess what our vocation ultimately is, what God is calling us to do to serve the people around us. And for some of us that does mean staying full-time at home with our families. And that's a beautiful thing.
And I think that's important to pause and capitalize on, because I do think there is a lot of pressure, like I mentioned, to do it all. And the reality is, if you feel called by God to stay with your kids full time,
that's beautiful.
That should be celebrated way more than it is in society today, because you are raising up disciples, like you're raising up children of God. I can't think of a better way to spend all of your time. And as my daughter gets older, you realize how intentional you have to be with your kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easier in some ways when they're in the newborn and tiny baby, but when they start talking and they're starting to soak in every part of the world around you, you have so many opportunities to disciple. You have so many opportunities to show them who God is. And if you're not there to speak into that and to direct them in the ways of God, somebody else will. And it needs to start at a very young age. And I'm starting to feel that more than ever, again, as my child is getting older. And so I'm trying to make room to be there for my child more, to make sure that I'm still running my business to the way that it needs to be managed, build my team up in a way that allows me to have a little bit more space so I can be more available, because it is so important. Our kids are our future. They're the leaders of our country. And so I feel an obligation. We should all feel an obligation as parents to pour, if anything, more into that than anything else, because they're the humans. They're the ones that are going to go outlast our time here on earth, right? They're our legacy. So I think that's really important to pause and say, if you're listening and you want to be a full-time mom, please do that. Amen. Go do it. That's phenomenal.
Yes. And I think the priority totem pole is so important there too, to know that our children always, our families behind our husbands, have to be the most important things in our lives. But that said, there are so many other women who are called towards a larger vocation of service to our community in some capacity, whether that's through teaching or running a business or hosting a show and educating people about what's going on in the world. And I'm so moved by how many women are finding this balance right now. We were on the cover, shockingly, we didn't know it was going to be a cover story of the Wall Street Journal a few weeks ago. Amazing. My family was about this new working mom and full-time mom thing. And I'm so encouraged that so many careers can be at home. We can have this balance. I record my show in my basement every single day. I'm encouraged by how many people are bringing their babies to the workplace. The vice president brings his kids to the Vatican and to the Taj Mahal, and you see all these amazing pictures of our second family, and just reviving this sense of the family unit as the cornerstone of America again, I think is so important.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of times we like to compartmentalize our life. And I think that family really should be a part of all of it. I mean, just like God should be a part of every single category or box that we kind of have in our life. My husband and I, Michael, we've done as best as we can a very intentional job of trying to bring our family into the work that we do. So Lily Gabel, she's been on 100 plus flights. She just comes everywhere with me. As much as I can, I'm trying to soak in that time with her. And, I work at home as well. And I don't think I would be able to do what I do if I didn't have that flexibility to do that at home. And so I think, it's important to realize that we don't have to just see family over here in this shelf and we have to see work over here in this shelf. As a working mom, you actually kind of have to figure out how can you, as best as you can, depending on your circumstance, invite your child into what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that actually is possible. And I love that you're being highlighted as somebody who's figured out how to do that in a very unique way.
Well, figuring in real time now, but yeah.
Well, you're doing it. Like, it's happening. And she's coming, you're inviting her in where you can. And I think, I'm still breastfeeding. And so I'm still bringing my daughter in I'm on meetings and there she is. And, it's important. It's important to try to stay close, especially when they're very young, because the days are fleeting too. Before we know it, we're going to be talking and our kids are going to be 16, 17, 18 years old. And we're going to say, wow, like, it went so fast. And did we make the most of every opportunity?
Absolutely.
And live every day like it's our last. That's how we should.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say on this before we switch gears a little bit, but it just dawned on me the other day mid meltdown when I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot keep giving of 150% of myself. I'm so exhausted. How many times I've prayed over the last few years, less of me, God, more of you, make me more like you. That's ultimately what the cross is about, right? It was the complete 150% self-giving of God to a torturous degree on behalf of humanity for our own redemption. And I find so much solace and connection with God as a mom in a totally different way than I've ever experienced.
Because you're desperate.
Yeah, that too.
You're on your
really
knees.
Need the extra help.
The dependence on God, though, is so real.
So beautiful. And I just want to encourage any woman who's out there thinking, oh, that sounds really hard. I don't know if I want to do the hard thing. The fact that it is so difficult is what makes it sanctifying. It's so incredible to invest in. You're right. You are a completely different person as a mom than you ever were before. And it's completely impossible to explain that until you have had a baby and you're holding your baby in your arms at 3 a.m. and you're completely running on empty.
Yep.
You still feel so full. And the fullness in your life is just incredible.
Because that's how God designed us. He designed us to live with that sort of purpose and grace and grit. And it's in those places where we're at our end where we meet God the most.
Yeah.
You're not normally meeting God to that moment of just desperation when you're watching TV or living the comfy life. And not to say we don't need moments where we get to just relax and those are all that's needed. But man, it's in the moments where I'm getting so stretched like a rubber band and I feel like I'm literally about to pop that I get to just have the grace of God enter into the room. And those are some of the best moments that I have with God. It's the best teachable times that I get to just rely on not my own ability, not my own strength, but Him. And I'm not perfect at that, okay? So
nobody is.
No one is.
Yeah.
But it's so beautiful and it's so needed. So I love that you said that because it makes us better.
As we encourage more people to have families then, obviously what EveryLife has been doing with the Make More Babies campaign, what I love more than anything about you and your family's organization, the mission that you have, is that you are thinking less about the profit and the growth of your business, which is doing amazing, by the way. You guys are the fastest growing diaper company in American history. Fact check me on that, but you are. And it's amazing to see that. But more importantly, you're trying to bring that joy and that purpose and that vocation into so many people's homes and lives. You guys launched a campaign last year that we were very fortunate to participate in with our family called the Praying for More Babies campaign that has made quite a splash in American culture. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, first of all, thank you for joining us last year and praying for over almost 8,000 families signed up for prayer last year. And it was in 58 different countries. We didn't even mean to reach so many different places, but this campaign was all centered around prayer and the need for more children. It was kind of a piggyback off of Make More Babies, but I was really ending 2024 and asking God, what is it for 2025 that you want out of our company? And I felt like prayer. I just kept hearing prayer. And as I investigated that further with Him and spent more time in conversation, I really felt like, man, there's so many people that are struggling to have children. And I think this was becoming personal for my own life as well, because I have a very dear friend from college who was just distraught. I had just met with her over the Christmas holidays at that time, and she was telling me all about her struggles, and my heart was just breaking. And, she hadn't really opened up to anybody. So it's so isolating. I think people, when they're struggling with infertility, it's such a shameful thing. They don't really want to tell anybody that it's happening, but they need to be talking about it because it's their world. It's their everything. It's all they can think about. And I just started to realize, and looking at the global statistics too of how many couples are struggling, like, what if we just paused and said, let's just invite anybody who sees this campaign to join in. We opened it up for 30 days at the beginning of the year last year and just said, we submit your prayer requests and we want to pray for you if you're struggling with having a child. And maybe it's, an expansion of your family. Maybe you have one and you just want more, or adoption. Maybe you're looking to have an adoption. We want to pray over that. And like I said, almost 8,000 people signed up, and we invited you and so many other prominent prayer warriors and people of faith to come and join us in this movement. And we prayed for these couples by name every single month. And the fact that we ended the year in 2025 with over 1,200 people that we know of that told us that they got pregnant in 2025 is unbelievable.
That's insane.
Insane. And I'm sure there's more, and we won't know. And we're starting to, what's really cool is in 2026, we're starting to see actually the births happen, right? So we're over 30 births now of people sending us pictures of their babies that we got to pray for all of last year.
This.
And it's why we exist. It's why we're here. We're so much more than a diapers and wipes company. And I think that's the message here, is that that's great. And we want to provide a wonderful product, but we want to shift culture. We want to pray for families, help them not feel alone, especially in the challenge of having a child, and let them know people like you are praying for them every single month. How much hope does that give someone? I mean, we had people tell us they have been trying for 10 plus years, decades. And this was the year they got pregnant.
Oh, I mean, I have chills hearing this.
Amazing.
It's just incredible. Chrissy gave me the actual numbers that you guys have internally. It's absolutely incredible. Again, this is just what you know about, because you don't know. They're not tracking this long term. But there have been confirmed in the last year 1,213 pregnancies as a result of this prayer campaign, 34 births, and 25 adoptions. That's
amazing.
1,200 families, almost 1,300 families that exist now or have grown now because of silent prayers that have nothing to do with how much your business is selling diapers or the impact that you're having on a financial level, but speaks volumes to the character of what you guys do every day. Back to our conversation in a minute. Today, we are doing one of the most American things that you can possibly do: make your voice heard in protest as we march for life. But the American dream is so much bigger than that. It's also been about building something of your own, taking an idea, some hard work, and turning it into a thriving business that you can call yours. For me, that's this very podcast. For generations, entrepreneurship has been at the cornerstone of that dream. But getting started used to mean huge upfront costs, technical headaches, and a mountain of obstacles before you could ever even open your doors. That's exactly where our friends at Shopify come in. It is the tool that puts the American dream within reach for anyone ready to chase it. Shopify is the commerce platform that's powering millions of businesses worldwide, including 10% of all US e-commerce and even our own Daily Wire shop. The best part is you don't need to be a complicated web designer to get started. They have beautiful ready-to-go templates that match your brand right out of the box. Or if you need some extra help along the way, their AI tools can help you handle all of your everyday tasks like enhancing your product images, writing your descriptions for your products, generating discount codes, and so much more. And if you're worried about getting your brand out there so that people even know that you exist, Shopify makes it so simple to run email and social media campaigns that actually reach potential customers. Plus, if you ever get stuck, they have an award-winning 24/7 customer support team that is always there to help you figure everything you need out. This year, you can turn those big dreams into with our friends at Shopify and give them the best shot at success. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Isabel. One more time, that is shopify.com/Isabel.
Well, thank you. It's an honor. I got to pray for all these families, and I have to tell you, it was one of my favorite things that I got to do every single month, was just to stop and to look at these names, to see their needs and realize there is such a great need.
Oh my gosh. It was shocking, honestly, being on the receiving end of these lists. You just get like a massive Excel spreadsheet of a ton of hundreds of different families to pray for by name. I actually got a DM from someone that I didn't know in college. And I don't know if you saw, I posted this back in September, but I got this DM last September and it was amazing. Hey, Isabel, I'm not sure if you remember me, but I went to CSU at the same time as you and was also a pre-med major. We were probably in classes at the same time. We didn't know each other. My maiden name was XYZ. I blocked that off. Our paths crossed at several points with different classes. Anyway, I just wanted to reach out and say that you've been on my mind a lot this week. This was the week Charlie was killed, unfortunately. My heart aches so bad with Charlie's passing, and watching the ones who knew him best grieve just confirms how incredible of a man and a friend he was. My prayers are with you and everyone. Both of you have played a huge role in developing my beliefs, and for that, I cannot thank you enough. Both of your voices are what caused me to flip from blue to red in the last election, but beyond that, your voices have encouraged me in my faith with the Lord as well. We have been walking through infertility as a family recently, and through your page, I found EveryLife and joined the Pray for More Babies list. After several months of prayer, we ended up finding out that we were pregnant naturally just days before starting fertility treatments.
Wow.
I cannot express enough how grateful I am that you all have prayed for us over our journey. And she's shared all of that with me.
I mean,
And
that
that's
brings
somebody
tears.
that I was in the room with several times and I didn't even necessarily know about. But think of how many thousands of families have been touched by this in just miraculous ways.
It brings tears to my eyes just thinking about that one story. And like you said, there's thousands of others out there, and we're going to keep doing it.
Yes,
so
we are.
more to come. We're hoping to get some more prayers going in 2026.
Yeah, I think the important thing for me and what's really been weighing on my soul that God is really convicting me about is that we can't just stop with praying for the expansion of families that desperately want children. That is a huge component of our culture. And I'm so grateful that we're hopefully making a big impact there and trying to get to some of the root cause of these infertility crises. And we're all quitting our birth control. We're dealing with the ingredients in our women's care products and so much more. But what's really alarming to me, and in our last couple of minutes, I'd love to dive into this with you, is how many people just don't want kids anymore and how we have to undo decades of programming from Hollywood, from our biggest influencers, from the academic institutions in the West. We know from the last couple of days that in the UK, they just announced the new numbers that basically a third of pregnancies are currently being aborted in the United Kingdom of all pregnancies. That's on track with what we know about Generation Z here in the United States, that 1/3 of my generation was just never born because of abortion. In France, the mortality rate is higher than the birth rate now for the first time in history because no one's having kids. And I saw a recent statistic that almost 50% of young women, and you might know the better numbers here, just don't want kids in America today. It's not on their radar at all.
Yep, it's 44%. It was a Pew Research survey that put together young 18, 49-year-olds, and they claimed that they are considering not having children at all. These are non-parents. And so you're right. It is one area to pray for those families who so desperately want a child, and we're doing that. But there is a massive societal issue that we have almost half of the population today that is saying that they just don't want to pursue womanhood, childhood. They don't want to pursue having kids. And we need to be talking about that. We need to figure out how can we address that issue. And I do think, again, as a mom, it does start in the home. It starts with making sure that we're doing what we can to create a culture in our home that celebrates life, that celebrates parenthood, that, instills those really important values in our kids. So that way, when they go out in the world and they hear it from their teachers or they hear it from kids or from social media or wherever the noise may be, they have a foundation that they're set on, and they can say no to the things that they know are not true and are lies because they have a foundation of truth. And obviously for us, we're getting our truth from the Bible. So we're looking at biblical truths to instill in our kids. And so it does really start with the home. It starts with making sure that we're doing our part. And I do think that honestly, the future, Isabel, you look at who is populating the earth, it's Christians. It's us. It's the Bible believing Christians that love the Lord and love family. It's the conservative movement. And so we need to continue, at least for what we can do, keep promoting that message because it is loud. It is starting to become louder and people listen, young people listen. And I'm hopeful that the more that we shout this from the rooftops, that parenthood is amazing and that having children is the greatest gift of all, we will start to see young people start to perk their ears and say, maybe there is something more satisfying than myself.
Yeah.
Self is when you focus just on yourself all day long and you never get married and you never have children, like how unfulfilling is that? Like your mind, can you imagine spending all of your day just thinking about you?
No.
You would go crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't want that for this next generation. I don't want them to be stuck in pride and in selfishness and pursuing all the things of me because that's just going to run dry.
Jordan Peterson talks about this really powerfully, that imagine if you died tomorrow, would you be okay with the version of yourself that you were today? Of course not. You want to be a better version of yourself, but that's the narcissistic mentality that I think our culture has really created in elevating self to a godlike level of everything has to be about me all the time.
100%. And that's why, the self-care movement is so big right now. Like go take care of you and go do you and find your own truth. It's so centered around your own thoughts. And I know that is only leading people to the path of destruction. And so the more that we can get our eyes off of ourselves and we can put our eyes back on God, we can put our eyes back on other people. Because when you get married, it's sacrificial. sacrificial. You're laying down your life for somebody else. It's what Christ did for us. Like he died on the cross so that we could live and to live the life of freedom with him. And so when we get married, we're in some ways, it's like the closest we can kind of get to that sacrificial love. And then the same goes for your kids. It's no longer about your own life. And that might sound maybe to some very burdensome or very not exciting. Well, let me tell you that it's actually the best way to live. It is the best way to live when you're not thinking about what you can do all day long. I just want to serve. I want to serve the people around me. I want to serve my company. I want to serve my employees. I want to serve my church. I want to serve my family. And I'm the best version of myself when that's my mentality. The moment I start thinking about me and my concerns and my worries and my anxieties, that's when you start to spiral.
Totally.
And so I think that the more that you're talking about this, the more that we have people that have platforms that can speak into these mindsets and break them, we will start to see a shift when we just begin to think about other people again.
Yeah, and that shift is apparent, obviously. As we mentioned, young men are really prioritizing marriage and children. And I think that is 100% directly the result of this huge, massive group of men speaking life into men that we've seen over the last decade. The Charlie Kirks of the world,
So good.
The Michael Knowleses of the world, the people that are connecting with young men to say it's okay to be a young man, and here's what your role as a biblical young man is supposed to look like as a provider and a protector and in laying your life down for people. I'm very hopeful that we start to see that shift with young women too. I don't find it coincidental at all that Riley Gaines and Brett Cooper and I are in the cutest little group chat ever, sending baby pictures every day. We all had babies right around the same time, and we're not the only ones. There are so many women in the movement that are becoming very outspoken about this. Allie Beth Stuckey is an incredible voice for young moms and encouraging this for young women as well, and countless others. I mean, I could talk for an hour about how many great voices there are out there. But in the pro-life movement specifically, I think we still have yet to see a massive pendulum swing away from we have to get Roe v. Wade overturned. We have to get Roe v. Wade overturned. That was 4 years ago now, which is amazing and crazy that it's been that long. How do we shift that messaging? And what message do you have for other organizations in the pro-life space to now go on offense and say, we did that. That's amazing. I'm so glad that we did that. Now, how do we revive the American family and specifically speak life into young women in that capacity?
Yeah, I think that we have an opportunity to, a lot of this happens in the church. A lot of this speaking about values and speaking about the need for prioritization of God and family. It should happen in the home, but it should be happening in the churches as well. It should be happening in Christian schools and really the school system in general. And so I think the pro-life movement really needs to be thinking about where are these conversations happening? How can we invade those spaces so that way we're getting a hold of the minds way sooner? Because like I mentioned earlier, there's so much noise out there in the world, and a lot of the teachers today are the ones actually teaching them not just the educational pieces of the school system, the math, the reading. They're teaching them values as well and their own beliefs. And so we really need to be cautious about how can we start creating curriculum? How can we start creating a movement where we're focused on infiltrating those areas as well, because that's how we get a hold of them a lot sooner. And I'm excited about the movement thinking bigger and thinking about how we can, show up for the marches and yes, work on policy. And we have to be marching in that direction as well. But we could be doing a lot in some of these in the church space, in the educational space, in the homes, equipping moms and dads to have these conversations so they feel confident, they feel comfortable, because that's where it needs to be. And there's not enough. I mean, think about how many churches are out there not talking about the pro-life movement and the fact that we need to be standing for every miraculous life from the moment of conception because they're deserving of love, protection, and celebration. There's so many pastors that won't talk about that. So if organizations and the pro-life movement can start partnering more with churches, with schools to bring in some of these pro-life values, pro-family values, I mean, I think that's a recipe for something really, really special.
Very powerfully stated. And I know our team is already starting to give me the eye because I can sit here and talk to you for 4 hours. So last question, I promise, for you before we have some fun with our March for Life weekend here for the next couple of days. I am so blown away by the impact of your family in particular, embracing this call to go on offense, to save the country and to save the world, to impact people's lives, to bring people to heaven. And this year, we're really trying to focus on highlighting incredible people that are doing just that on our show, that we can no longer just be on defense against the lies of the left and reacting to all of the insanity for clickbait and all of the crazy things on social media. That's important, and we certainly do need to go on defense against the crazy onslaught of insanity that we've seen in our culture. But what does it look like to actually make culture, to build something, to change the narrative for the next generation. For any potential budding entrepreneurs out there that might be thinking about their legacy and what they can do, either from a business perspective or on the personal level, to go on offense for American culture, what would you say?
I would say go for it, because if not you, then who? I think that's the question we all need to be asking right now, because we all have a part to play and everyone's part looks different. So some might not be called to being an entrepreneur and starting their own business, but you ask the question toward that group of people. If you have something you're dreaming about, actually, let me say this. If you have something you're frustrated about, because this is really what helped me see it was time for me to jump in and respond and not just sit on the sidelines. I had to get inside of the arena because I couldn't sleep over it. I was seeing this issue in the diaper brand industry, and it was irritating me. It was frustrating me. I had this righteous anger to want to respond and do something. And if you have something that's irritating you and it's frustrating you, it's probably God trying to show you that he needs you to step up and help be the solution. Because we can sit here and complain about the issues all day long, but the question becomes, what do we do about these issues? And how can we be a part in creating the hopeful solutions? And so I would say, go for it, because we need you. We need you a part of the movement. We need Christians. We need believers. We need people who are conservative at the top of these mountains of influence, speaking into culture, building businesses. It should be us. It should be the believers. God ideas are better than any earthly idea. Like, God is the creator of the world. So if you have him on your side, inspiring the work that you're doing, there's no reason we're not at the top.
Yeah.
And so I think that we cannot sit aside and be complacent. And so fight against the passivity, fight against the fear, because fear is a lot of the reasons why we don't say yes and jump in, and say yes, because we need everybody playing a part right now to build a stronger nation. And we know strong families build a strong nation. So use your family, use the people around you to help you with your business idea. Ask the mentors that have gone before you. Pick people's brain. That's what I did. I invited everybody in that I could to say, hey, I have this idea. What do you think of it?
Yeah.
Have people pray with you. And if you feel like over time that there's something here, it's time.
I love that. Sarah Gable, Seifert, thank you so much to your contribution to save the country, to change families, to revive our love of motherhood amongst this generation of young women. Truly, it is an honor to call you a friend, and I cannot wait to hit the streets and march with you tomorrow for life here in DC.
Me too. It's going to be great. Thank you, Isabel.
Thank you so much again to Sarah Gable for joining us. She is so beautiful inside and out, and truly her family has just done amazing things to serve the people around them, to revive the dignity of the human person in the baby industry that is so unbelievably corrupt. Still to this day, I cannot quite wrap my head around why every single baby company is propping up the abortion industry. It makes absolutely no sense at all. Riddle me that one. But knowing that they're also trying to support women through every single phase of our life through their new EveryLife women's venture is also so incredible. And I am blown away at the impact one person can have if they just have the courage to do something good and true and beautiful in our society. This is how we rebuild the American dream. And we're so excited to continue telling more of these stories from amazing patriots in our 250th birthday as a country. We will see you guys for our special vlog episode from the March for Life on Monday. Stay warm out there this weekend, or should I say in there, because we're all going to be huddled up in our homes more likely than not. Hit the grocery store, have a plan for backup power, because you have to charge your phone to rejoin us for the show come next week. Love you guys. Happy weekend.
What was it like, Merlin, to be alone with God?
Is that who you think I was alone with?
Merlin, I knew your father. I am yet convinced that he was not of this world.
All men know of the great Taliesin.
Who am I, Father, that the gods should war for my soul?
Princess Garrus, savior of our people.
I know what the bull god offered you. I was offered the same.
And?
There is a new power at work in the world. I've seen it. A god who sacrifices what he loves for us.
We are each given only one life, Singer.
No. We're given another.
I learned of Yezu the Christ, and I have become his follower.
He's waiting on a miracle, and I think you can give him one.
Trust in Yesu. He is the only hope for men like us.
Fate of Britain never rests in the hands of the great light.
Great light, great darkness. Such things mattered to me then.
What matters to you now, Mistress of Lies?
You, nephew.
The sword of a high king.
How many lives must be lost before you accept the power you were born to wield? So clinging to the promises of a god who has abandoned you.
I cannot take up that sword again.
You know what you must do.
Great light, forgive me.
The time has come to be reborn.